Human bodies are a marvel of nature, and the ability to give birth is just one of its miracles. Ironically, humans are also the only animals that have given up the spontaneity of the birthing process over time, losing faith in their own bodies. This generation of expectant mothers has access to extensive online information and on-ground support. But despite it all, many succumb to over-medicalization during pregnancy and birth. The biggest concern in this context is the rising incidence of Caesarean section births in the country.
Caesarean sections is a scientific procedure, but when do you drop your guard? That means you lower your threshold in deciding a Caesarean section. So there is from the hospital management point of view, there is an extra benefit for those who do more Caesarean. From the doctor's personal point of view, Caesarean section is least interfering in your day-to-day practice, and hence the total turnovers you can produce in a month or a year on your individual practice basis. Basically, everybody gains. The doctor gains, the patient gains, doctor gains time and money, the hospital gains money, and somehow the patients tend to believe that it's a wonderful escape from the torture of normal delivery. Over the years, with a very deliberate campaign from the doctors, it is the new normal. So that has taken over 20-30 years, but now a Caesarean delivery is accepted as the new normal, which is very unfortunate.
According to the National Family Health Survey 2015-16, the overall C-section rates in India have doubled in the last decade. Another alarming statistic is the rate of Caesarean sections in private health facilities in urban India, 44.8%. This is well above WHO recommendations that state that Caesarean births in a country should ideally not exceed 10 to 15%. In fact, there are states like Tripura where 87.1% births in urban private facilities were by Caesarean section. A life-saving emergency procedure for mothers and infants has become the new normal.
The first time round, I would say I had a normal pregnancy. There was nothing wrong with it. When the term came to completion, I still did not get any pains. I was supposed to be induced. Then last minute, they just come up with something like there is some turmoil inside, and they just make such a hype about the whole thing that 8 o'clock they say we'll have to go in for a C-section. Something's wrong. It was not a great experience thinking that you're going to go through a normal labor and a normal delivery, and then last minute with a hype, you just, after all that pain, you go through a C-section. It was just pushed upon us.
While Sukhrit would have preferred a normal delivery, an increasing number of women are opting for elective C-sections. Their reasons vary from choosing a supposedly auspicious date of birth to what they believe is a painless birth procedure.
We are always talking about why women are opting for C-sections, and we hear it all the time, and there are so many different reasons given by women saying, I'm going to have a C-section because, and a large amount of them say, because I don't want to go through the pain. And it makes me smile sometimes when I look at them and I say, well, ever had a paper cut or nicked your hand in the kitchen with a knife? And does that hurt? And it hurts for a while. And you're getting a surgery where 7 layers of your body are cut. And is that not painful? So I'm not quite sure that they are talking about pain, but I think they're talking about fear of that pain. Nobody talks about pain after C-section. There are drugs you can take. And there's an idea that the baby is no longer in me, and so the drugs are okay, but you're lactating. You're still feeding the baby. You're still nourishing the baby, and that is still going to the baby. Not to say that you're incapacitated and you cannot hold your child and then you can't meet his requirements. And the recovery is so much harder So for everybody who says that it is painless, it is easy, or it's convenient, I think we really need to rethink that. But it seems to be one of the reasons, and it's not the pain, it's the fear that we have developed around giving birth.
While presenting C-sections as the modern scientific and painless method of childbirth, many caregivers do not counsel expectant mothers about the risks and possible adverse impact on maternal and infant health.
So if a woman is explained that she has, let's say, 20% chance of having urinary infection, 10% chance of having a wound infection, 60-70% chance of having long-term low backache, or lower abdominal pain, or for years having backache, not many women are stupid enough to ask for a cesarean section. I think it has been sold as some kind of women have been seduced into believing that's a painless and easy way of delivering women. It is not. Okay, it's not an escape from a normal delivery or escape from pain. So no woman would ask. But what is more interesting is that if a doctor performs such a cesarean, let's say what we call on-request cesarean, and there is a complication, like serious complication, and the case goes to court, the court will not accept this word that the patient asked for the cesarean, that's why you perform it. We are not here, it's not an FM request channel that the patient says you play a particular song and I have to play it. No, it is a serious surgical procedure with serious implications and potentially life-threatening, and it can be done only for medical reasons and not because the patient asks or the patient's family asks.
The WHO statement on cesarean section rates clearly states that every effort should be made to provide cesarean sections to women in need rather than striving to achieve a specific rate. When medically justified, a cesarean section can effectively prevent maternal and perinatal mortality and morbidity.
If there is a low-lying placenta, that is the placenta comes before the baby, and in those situations obviously the baby cannot be delivered, and those situations the mother is at risk of bleeding, so where you would need a cesarean definitely for the safety of the mother and the baby. In certain situations where the baby is malpositioned does mean normally the baby is in the head down position, but if the baby is breached, that is the legs are coming first, or if the baby is transverse lie, in such situations you would need to have a cesarean sections. Of course, if these situations persist till term, a baby can be breached or a transverse lie at 7 months of pregnancy. That doesn't mean that you have to have a cesarean, because at 7 months about 30% of the babies will be like that, and as you approach your due date, most of the baby will tumble and come into the head down position. So we don't need to plan at 7 months that, oh, just because I'm breached, I'm opting for a cesarean section.
The lack of information and misrepresentation of facts have led to many conditions being perceived as high risk and ending up in surgery.
A mother who has a diabetes in pregnancy, who's developed diabetes in pregnancy, is a high-risk mother, of course, but that doesn't mean that every mother who has gestational diabetes needs a cesarean section. Similarly, another condition that we can talk about is high blood pressure in pregnancy.
Yes.
A high blood pressure in pregnancy does not always mean that you will have a cesarean section.
Once a cesarean, always a cesarean. This is another common perception that does not necessarily hold true.
The thing is that if a woman who's had an uneventful pregnancy with us, even if she's had a cesarean before, and she comes in to us in spontaneous labor at term, then there is no reason that we cannot offer her a trial of labor. We see that about 3 in 4 women who are trying for labor or delivery after a cesarean do tend to have a normal delivery.
After having my first child as a cesarean baby, I chose another doctor this time round, and I was very determined right from the very beginning. I told my doctor that I've had a cesarean first time and I want to have a normal delivery. And she looked at my file and she said, we'll see. It was really fast, really easy. Yes, I got an internal done for an induction, and the rest of the induction I did with acupressure But there were no chemical involvements, there were no drips, there were no artificial pains. So I think I had a great experience. It was, I think, a very spiritual experience also, having a doctor cooperate with me so much for a normal delivery, second time round, when the whole world told me I'm going to have a cesarean.
Like Sukhrit, Soveksha Lama, 37-year-old, declared overweight, broke all myths under the right guidance and had a normal delivery with her first child.
Initially, it was the entire ecosystem around me, which kind of put it in my mind that C-section was the right decision that I should be taking when I conceived. But I guess with the kind of support that I got from my husband, my family, and the hospital itself, that kind of made me change that norm and go for a normal delivery. And now with him here and me fit and fine, I think that was the right decision.
Soveksha's story reflects the direct link between your birth experience and your choice of caregiver.
One of the really good pathway to getting the birth you want would be to get the information and get information from unbiased sources, look for studies, look for different opinions, look for people who will offer you continuous support or will back up that research or offer you options. Look for caregivers who listen to you and will give you options again. Look for this information that is not mainstream, and you may get them by asking around for people who have the same idea of birth as you have, or addressing the issues that you have in a very specific way. Pay attention to all the small things that are important to you, so that you have support around it, you have information around it, and you have resources around it.
Demanding accountability and transparency in institutional deliveries will surely pave the way for ethical practices in birth. It is encouraging to see some hospitals taking the right initiatives in this direction.
First need to audit the results and why people are getting so many results. There are doctors who almost don't do a normal delivery at all, and there are doctors who do 70-80%. So how do we know who's doing too many cesareans? So WHO and all professional bodies like the American and the Royal College have their standards. I think anything above 15-16% cesarean rate is not acceptable. So if it goes above 20 and 30, in UK for example, the hospital is shut down pending inquiry. I think something like that we need to do. We have to audit the cesarean rates, not only hospital-wise but doctor-wise.
Policy change to ensure accountability has to go hand in hand with increasing awareness. An initiative in this direction was taken by academician and journalist Subarna Ghosh in association with NGO Birth India. She started a petition to the Women and Child Development Ministry to make it mandatory for all doctors and hospitals to declare the percentage of cesarean delivery rates to patients, conduct inquiry against those with abnormally high C-section rate, frame clear guidelines for conducting cesarean to safeguard the health and rights of women and children. Policy change, medical ethics, and public awareness are the keystones in empowering your birth experience. After all, there is nothing quite as exhilarating as bringing life into the world as nature intended it to be.